Yo, what is up, boys? It is your boy Xehther here, and I'm back at it again to drop the final installment for what if Deku could use the 8 inner gates. Now, I know a lot of you guys really like this series, and I do as well, but today is going to sadly mark the finale for this. But don't worry though, guys, I am going to be dropping this what if in a movie form, and I hope that you guys can at least go click on the video just to give it a watch. Do your boy a favor. With that being said though, guys, I have one last quick announcement before I start the video. That is, link in the description for the new group channel. Me, Izukage, Rogue X, and Phoenix Sonin are going to create a new what if channel where all of us are going to be dropping content there. So if you guys like any of that, make sure to go down. First link in the description. It'll be there. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to be picking off this story right after Deku finished saving Hosu City. See, it's at this point that Deku was called on over to the police station, and on his way there, a bunch of civilians from Hosu City would basically just be thanking Deku. They'd be like, "You're the man! What's his pro hero name?" And people would just start talking in the crowd, basically just being like, "That's Rock Lee, the new pro hero!" Or no, the new, the future #1, as people just start cheering his name, and Deku just smiles at them as they're like, "What's your quirk?" Deku just looks back at them and yells, "I'm quirkless," as they all just basically start cheering even louder, and they're like, "The first quirkless hero!" They just start going berserk as Deku's just smiling, thinking that, all his hard work truly is paying off. It's been years, and all those push-ups, the runs, the pain, the times that he's broken his bones, the times that he just passed out due to exerting his body far too much, it's all finally working out. Like, it's finally starting to show some fruits for all of his labor. Deku just smiles as he goes to the police agency, and this is when he would proceed to basically just enter inside, as he would see the dog guy, and he would basically look at Deku as he would tell him that everything that he did was in violation for UA and anything that happened, and that people literally have videos for what happened today. So even though he doesn't want to give Deku any punishments for this, he is going to have to face a little bit of consequences for this. And Deku would then look at him as he would say, "How dare you? So I was just supposed to let these people die? There was no way any of your unqualified heroes could have done a thing about it. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I could take each and every single one of them and your entire police force down at the same time. So punish me. Do it." As the police guy would say, "But due to the fact that you are a student and you saved the city, I thank you." As Deku would look at him and he would calm down, as he would then smile and say, "Sorry about that." The dog guy would basically look at him and be like, "No, it's no problem at all. I would have reacted the same if I saved the whole city and I was thanked by getting punished." Deku would look at him and he would smile as the dog guy would basically tell him, "However, your little master over there," as Gran Torino would just be sitting there kind of, face palming as well as being proud, would be told that he's going to have his hero license revoked for a couple of months. And Deku would be told that he has to go back to UA, as Deku would of course do that, and he would then basically just get a bunch of messages from from our girl Melissa. Now she would text Deku and just be like, "What are you thinking? What were you thinking going there and doing the things that you were doing?" As Deku basically told her that he saved Hosu City, she would say, "Yeah, but what if something could have gone wrong? What if the hero killer got you?" Deku would then send her a little bit of a smirky face and say, "The hero killer? Yeah, I took care of him." As Melissa would just send 3 dots back. And she would then just start laughing, as she would basically say that she can't believe she ever doubted him. Deku would say if it's fine to go train over there for the 3 remaining days, and she would say of course it is, as Deku would train like never before. And it's at this point that Deku would gain a full mastery over the 6 inner gates. Full mastery over the 6 gates. As Deku would basically look towards Melissa, he would basically smile as, Melissa would look at Deku and just give him a smile back. And, this is when, in text, by the way, in text, not in real life because they haven't seen each other yet. And Deku would just basically train for 3 days, mastering the 6 inner gates, as not the 8 inner, not like all 8, but like 6 of them. as they would basically report back to class, and this is when Deku would see Melissa. As Melissa would run up to Deku, as Deku was walking, holding his books and stuff, she would jump on him, causing Deku to drop everything, and she would just begin to bombard the man with kisses. As Deku would basically pick her up, and he'd basically give her a piggyback ride all the way to class. This is when Deku would look at her and smile, as he would say that, how would her training go? And she would basically look towards Mr. Aizawa, who was at the door, and she would smile as Mr. Aizawa would give her a head nod, and Deku would say, so I'm guessing it went well. Melissa would say that it did, that she actually learned a lot about how to use that scarf. And Deku would say, wait, Mr. Aizawa taught you that? She would say, of course he did. And Deku would say that he's definitely going to have to learn how to use that scarf as well. As Melissa would say, I mean, you can try it, but I'm pretty sure you don't got the skills. As Deku would say, is that a challenge? And they would both laugh, as they would both basically just go through the normal school day up until the final period, where they would basically be told that they're going to have a little bit of a race to see all the progress that the students have gotten. But before the race can happen, though, Deku would actually get called over to Principal Nezu's office, and everybody else would do that part. Principal Nezu would basically look at Deku, as he would basically proceed to tell him that essentially, Deku is far above anybody's league in this hero school. He might even be more powerful than the big three themselves. Deku would ask who they are, and Nezu would basically just tell him that, due to that fact, Deku's progress is going to be, pushed up by quite a bit. As Deku would say, what do you mean by that? And Nezu would look at Deku, as he would say that he's going to be having to make him he's going to be taking his provisional hero license today, seeing as in case anything else ever happens, Deku can step in legally. And Deku would just look at him with his eyes just glowing wide, as he would look at Nezu and just thank him, as he would go and take that provisional hero license, and our boy Deku would ace it, to say the least. He would get perfect score. He's a literal exemplary of a hero. Like he is literally what you want to be if you're going to be a hero as well. And Nezu can definitely see that, as well as everybody else. So yeah, that's essentially what happens with Deku while everybody else has the race. And Ida, this time, actually ends up surviving, which is, the only good thing that happens from all this stuff. Now, that being said, Deku, after this, would basically proceed to just kind of chill with Melissa, as he just has a really nice, cool day with her after school, right? He's just vibing. He and Melissa decide to have a little bit of a movie night and just put training and all that behind them. However, Deku just couldn't do it. Before he went on the date with Melissa, he would have definitely gotten a couple of push-ups, sit-ups, and he went on a run on his way there. But he quickly, he took off the sweat, and he arrived, he put on, he showered real quick, and, he went to Melissa's house. She was not the wiser. So with that being said, Deku and Melissa would have a little bit of a study session and, a little bit of movie session. They would make their own movie, by the way, wink, 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 as, that's pretty much what happens with them. And about 2 days later, they would be told about the final exams and the forest training camp that they're all going to have to go to. And, they're going to have their papers signed by their parents. Deku would go over to Inko and he would ask her, and Inko would basically just smile as tears are running from her eyes, and she tells Izuku that she can't believe he's gotten so strong. Her baby is so powerful without even a quirk. Deku would look at her and basically just say, Mom, not right now. As she would say, what? I'm pretty sure Melissa feels the same. I mean, isn't she quirkless too? You're basically doing something for the both of you. You're proving that even quirkless people can be powerful too. Deku would look at, Melissa, and she would smile and nod her head, saying that her mom has a point. As Deku would look at his mom, he would then smile as he would tell her that, thanks. And he would then get the paper signed as well. Everybody would basically just be told that they're going to have their final exams and that they have 1 week exactly to train. During this time, Deku would decide that he's going to try to unlock the 7th gate, even if a little bit during this week. And he's going to go crazy with the training. As Melissa would tell him not to overdo it, Deku would say that he would try not to. But of course, on the 3rd day of training to try to unlock the 7th gate, Deku had to be hospitalized for the entire night because, the man was passed out due to exhaustion. Recovered girl went to go see him, but she noticed immediately that he was just exhausted and that all Deku needed was some rest. So for that day and the very next day, Deku would rest, and the very next couple days, Deku would continue his hardcore training. He would even do a little bit of a clapping training with Melissa, if you all know what I'm talking about. Some of the good old-fashioned studying. As, of course, sorry if I, destroyed and, offended your ears right there, but, I got my point across. That being said, though, essentially, the day would come along where they would have to actually take the final exam. And in terms of Deku and Melissa, yeah, they aced the whole thing. Deku was still put on the team with Bakugo, and when Bakugo tried to retaliate to Deku, wait, no, he doesn't. If you guys can remember the last part, I basically said that Bakugo, low-key, he switched genders. Like, he switched genders real quick. And after Deku just whooped the man last time, Bakugo was not going to give him no type of attitude. So when Bakugo was basically told by Deku that their plan is just going to be to try to take down All Might one-on-one, that Bakugo was going to act as more of a distraction, Bakugo immediately just kind of cucked down to Deku and said, alright, sure, we'll do that. As Deku and Bakugo basically took down All Might. Deku would have activated the 4th gate just to make sure that he can take All Might quickly and swiftly, as Bakugo in an instant would have flashed in front of All Might, shot him with a smoke screen right in his face. Deku blitzed behind All Might and just literally knocked him out with a hit to the back of the head. All Might was dropped to the ground before he even had the chance to realize what happened. And yeah, All Might was just GG comboed by our man's Deku. As afterwards, everybody who passed would pass. Whoever was on Melissa's team basically ended up passing as well. And this is going to lead us into all of the students basically being on the bus and just kind of messing around with each other. Deku and Melissa were in the back, just kind of enjoying each other's companies, if you know what I mean. You know, they were in the back of the classroom, just, you know, doing a little bit of smoochy smooch, with everybody kind of just being like, get a room, and, you know, just some funny scenes happening, honestly, all around. That's at this point that they all basically were taken to, you know, the forest training camp, and this is when they were stopped. They would basically stop at the mountain range, where they would basically be told that, well, they're going to have to pretty much get from here to from point A to point B, as immediately they were all thrown, and Deku would instantaneously activate the 5th gate, as he would proceed to grab Melissa and just blitz out of there. Everybody was wondering where they were, and, you know, by the time that they all went back to the base camp, Deku had done a little bit of image training, if you can pick up what I mean by that. Deku would have he would have helped Melissa with some spiritual training, if you get what I'm saying, you know. And yeah, Deku would have definitely, you know, he would have stuffed his rod inside of Melissa's, you know, her area. And yeah, after that, basically everybody got there, with Aizawa and the rest of them having gotten there about an hour early. And Deku saying that they cleared that whole thing and that they were basically just chilling here this whole time. Aizawa would say that this kid does never ceases to impress him, and he would look towards Melissa, telling her that they're going to be training. So as soon as the rest of the class arrives, they would look at Deku and Melissa and just say, you guys left us. You have no idea how hard that was. Deku would look at them as they would say, didn't you guys tell us to get a room? And he would basically smirk, as some of the people in the class would just kind of stay quiet, and Ida would basically say, that is no way to treat your classmates. As Deku would look at Ida and say, I saved your life, dude. The least you can do is stay quiet this once. Ida would just stay quiet immediately, and this is when Deku would just start laughing, as everybody in the classroom would just look at him and be like, you're so lucky, so strong, for no reason. As Deku would say that, you're lucky. I was born without a quirk. And this is when some of the people in class would just say, are you even sure you're quirkless? I mean, I don't know any quirkless kid ever who's been able to be this strong. You're quirkless. You shouldn't even be half as strong as you are. And Deku would look at them and say it was all hard work. He earned his strength. Not like them, who I bet they just relied on their quirks and never trained it a day of their lives, just letting it evolve on their own as they grew. And most of them, they did exactly just that, except for Bakugo. I'm pretty sure Bakugo is like one of the only people who actually trained his quirk, if even at all. And it's at this point that they all kind of just decided, yeah, we're not going to say nothing. And Deku and everybody else would basically just go through that day doing a little bit of training. Oh no, they can't train. They're all exhausted. Deku would do a little bit of training, and they would all get some food cooked by Mandalay herself, which would lead them all into going to the hot springs and just having a normal, relaxing day. Being told by Aizawa that they better enjoy today, because this is nothing compared to the training that they're going to be doing later on. And Deku would look at them all as he would say that this is actually nothing compared to the training that he's going to put them all through. Aizawa would look at Deku and he would tell them that, I mean, he's quirkless and he was able to get this strong. So if he has a 1 week to train them all and get them used to liking working out and stuff like that, they may just turn out to be better heroes than they would have ever been without him. Aizawa would look at Deku and just kind of nod his head, as it's at this point that everything would basically just go as it did in canon. Deku would still end up catching Koda just due to the fact that Mineta is still a pervert, and this would lead into Deku learning about Koda and low-key feeling bad about him. And also in this version, Koda never ended up hitting Deku's family jewel, so Deku actually feels a lot more compelled to help Koda out with, you know, his situation. And yeah, that would just lead to an overall better situation than what we had gotten in canon. This is, you know, this is pretty nice. And afterwards, they would have about 3 days. I'm going to say 3 days for Deku to essentially help train the students. And the students are dying. Like, they are dropping like flies. They are dropping like flies. They are having an incredibly hard time trying to handle this training regimen. And he and Melissa were basically the ones doing the best, with Bakugo coming in third and Todoroki trying to keep it, like, trying to not show that he is suffering because of this, but you know, he just cannot do it. Like, come on now, if you have to train like Rock Lee for even 1 day, your limbs are going to start feeling as if, you know, they fell off, and you're going to wish that they did as well. I mean, Rock Lee's training is just in another world, honestly. And it's at this point that he's like 15, so he's not putting them, you know, to do like the weak version of Rock Lee's training. He's making them really train. So yeah, that being said, Deku's basically just, you know, enjoying everything. And it's at this point where, you know, the nighttime would approach for the day of the villain attack, where everything would start to change. Deku would follow Koda, and Melissa would stay back, as well as, you know, everybody else in the classroom. And they would all basically just be enjoying their bowls of curry, as Muscular would approach Koda, and, you know, we would have a battle between Gates Deku versus Muscular. As Muscular would throw a punch right at Koda, Deku would immediately grab Koda and roll out of there. As he would put Koda to his side, he would then look towards Muscular as he would say, "What are you doing here and what do you want?" As Koda would take off the coat, and this one we would have Koda being terrified, as he would say, It's him! You're the guy who..." As Deku would immediately realize who this guy is, Deku would immediately just get enraged, and his fury would just lead him to activate the 4th gate. As Deku would say, "So you're the guy. You're the guy who made Koda the way he is. I'm gonna make you pay." Muscular would look... Okay, I choked on water. Okay, that was you know, just forget that happened. Anyways, Muscular would look at Deku as he would laugh in his face and say, "Do you know where Akatsuki Bakugo is?" Deku would say, "So you're looking for Kachan, huh?" As he would then look towards Muscular, he would then say, "Well, too bad, you're not going to be looking for him." As immediately he would punch him into the mountain and just completely knock out Muscular. As it's at this point that Deku pretty much just did what 1,000,000% Deku did to Muscular. And Deku would then grab Koda as he would take him to Mr. Aizawa and say that he has no time to explain that there's villains running around and that he has to go help Bakugo. As Deku would blitz towards the forest, he would then see Tokiyami and, you know, our boy Dupli Arms, as, you know, Tokiyami and Dupli Arms would just have their normal experiences going on, as everything would basically go as, well, you would really expect. Deku would lead Tokiyami over to Bakugo and Todoroki would, you know, have Tokiyami calm down after Moonfish was defeated, and they would basically travel in a pack, with Bakugo still actually being taken, and everybody who was basically present in the normal event and timeline would basically be there. As everything would basically go as it did in canon, up to the point where Deku finds out that Bakugo was taken. It's at this point that Deku would blitz over to Bakugo, using the 2nd gate to catch up with Mr. Compress, and he would, as Mr. Compress would throw the orb towards Dabi would be walking through the portal, as Deku would immediately say, "4th gate, open!" He would blitz straight through the portal, and this is when he would be met by none other than All For One. As Deku would look at the direction, his surroundings, he would see that he's surrounded by Toga, Dabi, Mr. Compress, Kurogiri, and All For One. As immediately All For One would go to flick his fingers and teleport people away from the area, but Deku like instantaneously would literally blitz over to each and every single one of the members, and he would just knock them all out as he proceeds to look towards All For One, who basically is just stunned. I mean, he's heard the things that people have been saying about Deku, but it was impossible, right? Right? Deku would then look towards All For One as he would say, "So you're the little All For One. You're the famed All For One, the one who destroyed all my respiratory system." All For One would begin to laugh, and he would say, "And you're the famed Izuku Midoriya, who took out my successor." As All For One's rage would begin to well up, and he would then shoot black tendrils at Deku. To which Deku would in an instant, literally looking as if he's tapped into Ultra Instinct, would just dodge each and every single one of the tendrils, going straight at All For One, as immediately he would say, "Dragon Fist! Roar!" No, wait, no, not roar. He would say, "Dragon Fist Punch!" As he would just shove his arm straight in All For One, and he would obliterate each and every single atom in All For One, as All For One would be no more, and Deku would then basically just stand there as Bakugo saw everything that just went down. He would basically look up at Deku as Deku would extend his arm out to Bakugo, and he would tell him if he's okay. As Bakugo would look at Deku, just look down at the floor and ask him, "Why, Deku? Why did you save me?" Deku would look at Bakugo and say, "You know, Bakugo, we may have our differences, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you." As Bakugo would say, "But you spat on me. You said that your respect was up to there." Deku would say that his respect was there, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care about Bakugo at all. As Bakugo would look at Deku, he would then basically grab onto Deku's hand, and Deku would just say, "Come on, Bakugo. What do you say we just let the past go? I mean, we both haven't been the greatest to each other, but I mean, we can start over." As Bakugo would look at Deku and he would say, "Don't ever dream of that, Deku." He'd say, "Just stay out of my way and I'll stay out of yours." As he would then look towards Deku and say, "You didn't save me, by the way. I could have done the same thing." Deku would then laugh, and he would then take Bakugo back to the area, as they would all be present back in UA, and you know, it would just be all over the news that Deku basically took out All For One, and it's at this point that Principal Nezu just honestly had no choice. The public was wanting Deku to become a pro hero immediately, and this would lead into Deku establishing his own hero agency as the youngest hero to ever live, and he would actually be under the tutelage of Hawks, who was actually the one who ends up training Deku in, you know, how to be a pro hero. He would be Hawks' sidekick for about 1 year, and during that year, Deku would have handled threats such as the Liberation Army and Shisaki, or Overhaul, I guess you could say. As well, that's pretty much how the story ends. Melissa and Deku, of course, stayed in contact, and Deku became the #1 hero 2 years later. After All Might ended up retiring, Deku would have become the next symbol of peace, and people all around the world, quirkless people, would have ended up stepping up trying to follow Deku's example, as Deku would have shown the whole entire world that quirkless people can be strong too. Quirkless people have the potential to be as strong or even stronger than people with quirks, and Deku just would have led a new era of heroes to arise. As well, this is where I'm going to be ending the series of what if Deku could use the 8 inner gates. I hope you guys enjoyed this story, seeing as it was a little longer than most of my stories. I'm pretty sure it's about, if you add all the time together, it's about 2 hours long. Yeah, this series is actually insane. This was one of my longer series actually, and it's about 2 hours and like 20 minutes ish, give or take, long. So yeah, that being said, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure that when this series drops as a movie, you guys go give it a watch. Come on, just do your boy a favor, click on the video, just you know, do your boy a favor and click on the video, seeing as, you know, you might like it, you might not, you know, just click on it to give your boy a view. Maybe go like it and report your attendance when the movie drops, which will be in about a week or so. But with that being said, boys, it has been your boy Xehther. I love each and every single one of you, but I am out. Peace.